Before Outlander became a cultural juggernaut, before Jamie and Claire Fraser were etched into television history, there was boot camp. Not the kind with military drills and camouflage uniforms, but the Outlander version: horses, swords, kilts, corsets, and endless rehearsals to transform a cast of modern actors into 18th-century Highlanders. And it was there, in the damp Scottish air of 2013, that Caitríona Balfe and Sam Heughan met for the first time. Looking back now, 11 years later, both stars laugh at how awkward, chaotic, and strangely fateful those early days were. "We were basically locked away," Caitríona recalled, describing the early weeks where the new cast was thrown together for writing lessons, dialect coaching, fight choreography, and costume fittings. "It was like we were at summer camp, except instead of marshmallows we had swords and corsets." Sam chimed in with his trademark dry humor. "It was intense. We were supposed to become Highlanders overnight. There was mud, bruises, and a lot of horse manure. That was our bonding experience. Of course, no story about those boot camp days would be complete without the now legendary slip of the tongue that nearly derailed everything." Caitríona still laughs in disbelief when she tells it. "We'd just met," she said, and Sam turns to me, completely serious, and says, "You look older on camera." The room, years later, still erupts in laughter every time she recounts it. But in that moment, Caitríona was stunned. "I thought, who is this man? Did he really just say that to me?" Sam, ever the gentleman who sometimes gets tripped up by his own words, has tried to clarify countless times. "What I meant," he insists, "was that Claire, the character, has this maturity, this strength." But it didn't come out right. At all. Caitríona smirks at the memory. He dug himself into such a hole. But somehow, that was the start of our chemistry. He was awkward, I was shocked, and we just clicked. What might have been a disastrous first impression instead became the cornerstone of a partnership that would carry them through more than a decade of filming. Fans would later gush about the undeniable chemistry between Jamie and Claire, but as Caitríona puts it, it was there from the beginning. "Even when he was insulting me." Sam laughs now, admitting that boot camp was less about training for horseback riding and more about learning how to survive alongside each other. "We didn't realize it then, but those moments, the embarrassing comments, the laughter, the long days in the rain, they built the trust we needed to play Jamie and Claire. You can't fake that kind of connection." Fast forward to 2024, and the weight of that first meeting feels even more significant. Reflecting on 11 years of Outlander, both stars admit the series has consumed nearly a quarter of their lives. When asked what advice they would give their younger selves back at boot camp, the answers were telling. Sam grinned. "Don't ever tell your co-star she looks older on camera. Just don't." Caitríona, with her usual poise and humor, replied, "I don't think I'd say anything. Because honestly, it all worked out. And I was always going to be fabulous." Their banter, equal parts playful and heartfelt, is proof of how far they've come, not just as actors, but as friends who have weathered the storms of fame together. The irony of it all is that Sam's clumsy remark became the first spark in a firestorm of chemistry that turned Outlander into a global phenomenon. What began with an awkward slip has blossomed into a partnership so believable that millions of fans around the world spent years convinced the romance was real off-screen. Even now, Caitríona admits she sometimes marvels at it all. "It was lightning in a bottle. We had no idea back then that our silly bootcamp days would lead to this. 11 years, hundreds of episodes, and a fandom that became family." Sam nods in agreement, his voice softer. "If you told me back then that we'd still be here, talking about Jamie and Claire a decade later, I wouldn't have believed you. But I'm glad I said something stupid that day. Maybe it broke the ice." And so, the legend of their first meeting endures. A story of awkwardness, laughter, and the kind of instant connection you can't script. Fans may swoon over Jamie and Claire's epic love, but for Caitríona and Sam, the real romance of Outlander began not with a kiss or a sword fight, but with a fumbled comment in boot camp that still makes them laugh to this day. It was the start of something bigger than either of them imagined, not just a TV show, but a journey that would define their lives, their careers, and their legacy. If boot camp was the awkward beginning, then Season 7B is the bittersweet farewell. As Outlander edges toward its finale, Heughan and Caitríona Balfe have begun to look back, not just at the laughter and stumbles of their early days, but at the highs and lows of the journey that defined their lives. And in true Hollywood meets Highlands style, they've even distilled it down into two simple words: the peach and the pit. When asked about their peach, the brightest part of the final stretch, both actors' faces lit up. Caitríona recalled those final episodes that felt almost ethereal: breathtaking landscapes, reunions with old cast members, and a script that pushed Jamie and Claire to emotional peaks. "There's this one scene," she hinted, "where everything just came together: the location, the light, the energy. It felt like we weren't even acting anymore. It was us, and it was magic." Sam agreed, his voice tinged with nostalgia. "It's rare, in this business, to feel like you're capturing something timeless. But in those moments, we knew we were giving the fans something they'd never forget." The peach of Season 7B, then, wasn't just one scene. It was the culmination of a decade of storytelling, wrapped in a glow of gratitude and finality. But with every peach comes a pit. For Sam and Caitríona, the darkest part of filming was once again watching Jamie and Claire torn apart. "When Jamie and Claire are separated," Caitríona explained, "it's always when tragedy strikes. It's the rule of Outlander: the further apart they are, the more danger surrounds them." Sam added that filming those separation scenes was emotionally draining, not because they were acting, but because it felt like losing a part of himself. "Claire is Jamie's heart," he said. "When she's gone, he's just a shadow. And after all these years, it feels the same for me. When Caitríona and I aren't working together, something is missing." The pit, then, was not just a narrative device. It was a reminder that endings are painful, even for the people living them out on screen. Ever the jokers, Sam and Caitríona found humor even in the heartbreak. In interviews, they teased that Jamie and Claire's Season 7B separation felt like a trial separation, or even a conscious uncoupling. Caitríona laughed. "We didn't know where Jamie and Claire ended and Sam and Caitríona began. At some point, it felt like we were breaking up too." The joke resonated with fans, because it cut to the truth. After 11 years, the line between character and actor had blurred. The way they leaned on each other through long shoots, the inside jokes, the tearful goodbyes. It was impossible to separate Jamie and Claire from Sam and Caitríona. Their chemistry had become more than performance. It was lived experience. Beyond the peaches and pits lies the biggest question: what happens when the curtain falls? For Caitríona, the end of Outlander is both thrilling and terrifying. "I came to acting later than many," she reflected. "Outlander wasn't just a show, it was my career. It was everything. And while I'm excited for what's next, I also wonder, will I ever find something like this again? That lightning in a bottle? It's rare." Sam echoed her concern, though in his own way. "I'll miss the rhythm," he admitted. "Filming in Scotland, then traveling for press tours, Comic-Con, meeting fans, it became our lives. I don't know what life looks like without it." The uncertainty of the future looms large. Will they land new roles that match the intensity of Jamie and Claire? Will they ever again share the kind of chemistry that defined an era of television? Despite their anxieties, both stars circle back to gratitude. For the crew who became family, for the fans who became a global community, and for each other. "We lived this together," Caitríona said softly. "Through cold nights, long days, laughter, tears. It was more than a job. It was a life." Sam nodded. "No matter what happens next, we'll always have this. Outlander isn't just a show, it's family." And so, as the end approaches, Sam and Caitríona leave fans with one last peach: the knowledge that what they built together was real, raw, and unforgettable. The pit, of course, is the inevitable goodbye. But perhaps that's what makes Outlander timeless. Just like Jamie and Claire, Sam and Caitríona's journey was defined by passion, separation, reunion, and the unshakable bond of two people who found each other in the storm. For fans, the message is clear. The show may end, but the chemistry, the lightning in a bottle, will live on forever.